Hello, I'm going to analyze a short story by Ken Liu titled Aware. Although the story changes between the protagonist's memory and the current time, we can still analyze the three-act structure through a time scale. The protagonist is the Japanese boy Hiroto. In the first act, the incident is that the asteroid is going to crash the Earth, but Japanese government didn't build the spaceship successfully. The turning point is that Hiroto's parents turn to their friend Dr. Hamilton to help Hiroto get on the spaceship named Hopeful. In the second act, it was 15 years later. The worsening situation is that the solar cell was torn. They need help, so Hiroto volunteered to solve the problem. In the third act, the climax is the time when Hiroto found there was a leak. And there was not enough fuel, so he had to choose between his own life and the preservation of the human beings. He chose the latter, and the reward is that he saved mankind. But he himself lost in the universe forever and became a hero. The subgenre of Aware is a mixture with apocalyptic and interstellar travel. The story converts between Hiroto's memory of his childhood and the current time. In his childhood, the place was on the Earth. The asteroid was going to crash the Earth, so it was an apocalyptic world. In the current time, the place changed into the space, and the human beings travel on the spaceship to process an interstellar travel to another planet. The dramatic situation of the story is self-sacrifice for an ideal, and the ideal is to perpetuate the human beings. And it is more like a tragedy because Hiroto died in the end. In spite of the possibility of interstellar travel, the story sets in the far future. The culture setting is a traditional Japanese culture. The title Aware is a traditional writing skill in haiku, containing an empathy to do things and a sensitivity to ephemera. Another key point of the story is Go Set, a popular game in East Asia. It uses Go Set to express that sometimes it's inevitable to give up something for the preservation of the overall situation, and also it emphasizes the importance of the teamwork and necessary functions of each component. The story uses first-person narration, so it can describe the feeling of Hiroto very detailed. It's appropriate to do so because the description of his psychological feeling need to be detailed to match his growth and action. And it's clearer to link the memory with the current time through the first-person side. Readers can understand the plot and the feeling of the protagonist better, and this cannot be provided by the third-person narration. Characters in the story are set effectively. The protagonist, Hiroto, the last man of Japan, was a gentle, well-educated, and wise spaceship engineer, and also a realist. He is neither too common nor too special, so he is the kind who the readers would like to be like. He showed great courage when making the last choice to be a martyr, sacrificing himself to save the mankind, which can call up great sadness in the reader's mind. For other characters, his lover Mindy was an eye candy. Dr. Hamilton was a scientist and the commander of the spaceship. For Hiroto's parents, they were not only his parents, but also had the role of his mentors to build him up into a mature and great person. These characters all contributed to the development of the plot and enriched the image of Hiroto. There are no antagonists in the story. The dialogues in the story were most between Hiroto and his father and are plain and gentle to match the Japanese culture background. The language is beautiful and contains a special poetry. The literary style of the story is imaginary because it uses similes and metaphors very often to describe the view of the universe and feeling of Hiroto, such as the sentence, "A kitten's tongue tickles the inside of my heart." In terms of human nature, Hiroto went beyond the ego stage and reached the super-ego stage because he gave up his own safety and made the choice for the humans. He was more or less determined in the story because he has the mission of inheriting Japanese culture. But in his last choice, he has the free will to save his own life, but he chose to make a decision to sacrifice himself, which is so moving to the readers. For the human relations, regarding to the 7 ages of man, Hiroto was first a schoolboy, just an everyman. But in his father's words and deeds, he reached a stage, the mixture of lover and justice, and become a hero of human beings. The society on the spaceship is more like transcultural diffusion, But it's because the Earth was going to be destroyed, so people from different areas had to gather in the spaceship to escape from the Earth. It didn't mention much about the society on the spaceship, so we are not sure whether it has social problems or not. But for the society on the Earth, many riots and wars happened when people knew it was the end of the Earth. It happened outside Japan, mainly because that Japanese people are highly conscientious. This good quality also reflected on the protagonist. It didn't mention much about group behavior in the story, but we can imagine that, because they are on a spaceship to possess an interstellar travel, people with high education like scientists and engineers will take the lead of the whole group. It didn't mention much about religion in the story either. In terms of human development, for modernism, the protagonist, Hiroto, probably believed in Bacon's scientific method. When he found there were some problems when he fixed the hull, he soon came up with an idea to find the alternative fuel. Also, it would cost his own life. For the lessons of history, we can learn that life is competition and selection, because only the best talents could be selected onto the spaceship. And we can learn that good hesitations of history will be preserved. For example, the goal set. It didn't focus much on the libertarianism because the society on the spaceship was not described in detail. Overall, the story is a moving tragedy. The settings, characters, and plots are all impressive. It's well worth reading it. Thanks for watching.